Welcome guys to another episode of the weekly EV wrap. So as you guys can see on the right hand side over here, here's all the brands or manufacturers that we're going to be talking about today. So let's get straight into it. Okay, so the first one here, Hyundai Inster. So it's confirmed that we're going to get them here first quarter 2025, which means January to March, which also means it could be as early as roughly 2 months away. How exciting. Little K-class sized car in Japanese terms, I guess, or a mini hatchback. I think it's going to be it's a pretty funky car, and I'm really excited to see this. And the reason why is because it's smaller than your usual hatchback from what it looks like, and I love compact cars. I think it's going to do great, especially in, I guess, in a city, and it's going to be a great car for commuting A to B and so forth. So anyways, some of the specs here are confirmed. Apparently they are also now on Hyundai's website as well, so you can jump onto there and have a look if you'd like. Some of the high level specs or details you can see here: 2 different battery sizes, 147 Newton meters of torque. Acceleration time for the standard range will actually hit the double-digit numbers, even in the extended range. So 10.6 seconds, 11.7 seconds. Top speed 140 and 150 kilometers. So, you know, it'd be really interesting to see how this actually performs on the highway at 110 kilometers an hour, because that's pretty much getting towards the top end. Very small battery, as we'd expect for a really small hatch, 42 kilowatt hours and 49 kilowatt hours. And the thing that I think is really good, actually, is AC charging speed, 11 kilowatts. So they're not capping it at like 6 or 7 kilowatts, so that's fantastic. So you can charge at 11 kilowatts, that's most likely going to be 3-phase, and you can also see here charging time at 16 amps, which is the 3-phase, 4 hours or 4.5, just over 4.5 hours on the extended range. And DC is, I guess, okay for a car this size, 120 kilowatts. So yeah, what do you guys think? Does anyone have one on order? And have you guys seen one? Because I know this car is already available overseas. So yeah, either way, that's very exciting and coming real soon. Let's keep moving on. So the next one I want to talk about is the LDV e-tron 9, or e-tron, however you pronounce that. There's basically 2 variants that are coming to Australia. So you've got the e-tron 9 or Tron 9, which is this left-hand one here, which is the pure EV. There is also, unfortunately, the Tron 9, which is a diesel. Basically, they are here, these 2 cars are here in Australia for local validation testing. So apparently these cars are going to be due in showrooms in Australia by mid-2025. And as I said, you do get the choice of the electric one, which is the left one over here, and then you've also got the diesel one, which is here on the right. So final testing is basically the key headline of this one, and we're going to get them here mid-2025. I've also got some notes here to say engineers have been testing the LDV Tron 9 range on Australian roads to validate advanced safety systems such as speed sign recognition, lane keeping assistance, and other electronic aids. The test route includes major arterials and back roads in New South Wales, Victoria and Queensland, as well as metropolitan areas and outskirts of Sydney, Melbourne and Brisbane. So guys, if you're from any of these states or you have spotted this car, please tag us on the socials. Would love to get some pictures here of this car in the wild. But yeah, so it's all underway now in terms of testing, and we're going to get them in the next half year. So watch this space. Alright, let's move on. Polestar. We've been talking about Polestar recently a fair bit, actually. So, yeah, they definitely want to get everyone's attention. So, Polestar 5. What do you guys think? I absolutely love the design. Polestar 5, Polestar 6, I think are the best looking cars in their entire range. And again, everyone's totally okay to have their own opinion. Some people might think this is the ugliest car in the world, and that is okay. But for me personally, I think it is a beautiful car. Okay, so let's get into some of the details of the Polestar 5. So, as you guys can see here, Polestar Cars Australia will continue product expansion in 2025 to 2026 with the Porsche Taycan rivaling Polestar 5. So, they're saying order books will actually open in the latter stages of 2025. So, we'll see Polestar 5 start of sale in Q4 of 2025. So, less than a year away, maybe 9 months. And they're saying there's also a chance that we might get deliveries in the back part of next year. But they just want to wait until we've got production confirmed. So, you know, pretty much potentially within 12 months, we'd see this car on the roads. How exciting. So yeah, as I said, everyone's totally entitled to their opinion on what they think about the car. I personally love the design of the car. I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts. Let me know in the comments below. What do you think of this car? Anyways, that's enough of Polestar. Let's move on to another fantastic looking car. It is the one and only Maserati GranTurismo 110 Anniversario, if that's how you say it. Anyway, triple motor, roughly 900 kilowatts, combined power, 0 to 100 in 2.7 seconds. It is a ultra limited edition of 110. So yeah, there's essentially 110 of these. There is also one copper and one blue that you see here in the pictures. That's what's coming to Australia. So out of the 110, we pretty much get 2 in Australia. Now, I don't know why specifically 2 or how they came up with that number 2, but the 110 in the name is because it's 110th birthday for the brand. So as I said, 2 will come. One is just that blue color there, and the other one is this copper. And some of the other information I've got here are 3 electric motors to develop the 900 kilowatts that I've put here. It says that, although it also says, but the listed combined power output is limited to 560 kilowatts, or which is also 1,350 Newton meters of torque in short bursts, as the 83 kilowatt hour usable battery is limited in the power it produces. That doesn't sound so amazing on paper, considering it's saying you've got about 900 kilowatts total, but you're limiting it to 560 kilowatts. Either way, in terms of rarity, this is going to be up there. 110 in the world, 2 in Australia. So yeah, it'd be awesome to be able to see this in the flesh one day. And yeah, so either way, the other GranTurismo models are going to come to Australia as well. There is no view on whether or not they are going to be EV or not, but these ones are. They are coming, and there is only going to be 2. So if you've got money or you know someone in Maserati, get your checkbooks out, unless they have already been claimed. So yeah, what do you guys think? Do you love the look? The one thing I've always loved about the Maserati GranTurismo design is the front grille. I've always thought that was pretty cool with the logo, the trident type logo at the front. It's always looked pretty cool in my eyes. But yeah, so that covers all of Maserati. Let's keep moving on. The Avenger is officially here. You may have seen it in some of the media articles. I've taken this from the Car Expert website. There's not too much more information. I guess key headlines is they've dropped the price, $3,000. So just under $50,000 for the Longitude version. Limited is about just under 55 and just under 61 for the top spec Summit. It's front wheel drive car, 115 kilowatts, 260 Newton meters of torque. Average size battery, more on the smaller side actually, 54 kilowatt hours and under 400 kilometers of range. I haven't got much more information here, but it is a small SUV. And so, yeah, that pretty much sums it up for Jeep. What do you guys think? Do you guys like the design? Do you think they've got the price point right or wrong? I've heard mixed opinions. A lot of the opinions have said that for the size of this SUV, people do think that the price should have come in a bit lower than that, considering some of the brand image that Jeep has had in the past. I'm not one to speculate. I can't. I'll reserve my opinions as I've never driven a Jeep. But yeah, hopefully we'll get our hands on one day. And yeah, so that's the Jeep Avenger, guys. Alright, next we have the Kia EV6 GT. You guys know we've driven one before. We've had this Kia EV6 on our channel. This is the new one. So as you guys know, in the US they have revealed the Kia EV6. They also released some of the specs on the EV6 GT, but what they didn't do is they didn't actually release the pictures. So now they've got the pictures. So here you guys go. They've got essentially the continued green theme along the brakes, and then on the inside just little accent bits with that really bright lime green. And yeah, we're essentially going to get this car in the first quarter of 2025. So actually it's as early as 2 months away. Key changes that we know. So it's obviously got a bit of a refresh on the bumpers around the car, same with the headlights and the seats and the steering wheel. The fantastic thing this time round, because I said it was missing in the first round and I thought it was a bit disappointing, is you're gonna get electric seats in this car. Cooling and heating electric seats. And the other fantastic thing is, if you don't like how wild the Ioniq 5N looks like, this basically now has the same motors. So up to 478 kilowatts, 770 Newton meters of torque. Absolutely fantastic. And they've also taken the, I forgot what the specific terminology was, but it was the e-gear shifts. So basically the virtual or the artificial sounds of the car to make it, I guess, a bit more engaging in some regards. So yeah, if that's something you're after, hopefully they don't change the price too much, or they do drop the price potentially a little bit. But this car is going to be a lot better than the previous one, for sure. You're going to have more power. Obviously, they would have done a bit more work on the suspension and whatnot. You'd have better seats as well, and they're electric. That was the one downfall, because in fixed bucket seats, it gets quite annoying trying to adjust seating positions. So hopefully with the electronic seats, you also do get memory seats. Yet to be confirmed, so watch this space. I'll keep you guys posted. Okay, let's talk Mahindra. So there is 2 new vehicles from Mahindra. So this was announced overnight, or actually a couple of nights ago. They were Mahindra's latest EV vehicles. It's from their new offering called the Electric Origin series. So the brand is moving from, I guess it's no frills type market to a more upmarket, more stylish type of vehicle. So other information here I've got is Mahindra plans a phased calibrated international rollout of the Electric Origin series, starting with right-hand drive markets, which means we're potentially going to get these in Australia. But I haven't put the Australian flag on the top right, indicating that this applies to Australia because it hasn't been confirmed yet. Either way, there's some of the sizes that you can see there. So the top one here, as you can see here, based on the number plate here on the bumper, this is the XEV 9E. Then you've got the BE6E down the bottom. So I find the BE6E sort of reminds me of like a concept Tesla. What do you guys think? Either way, some of the specs and dimensions I've put over here. So basically the XEV 9E is more size of a Model Y, whereas the BE6E is a bit smaller than that by about 40 centimeters. 2 battery sizes, same power across all of them. You'll see the XEV 9E, it's a mouthful to pronounce. It's just 0.1 seconds slower to 100. And then there's the respective ranges. However, this is in the MIDC type range calibration. So I'm not too sure what that's supposed to mean. I guess this one is, I think, a Indian calculation. In China there is CLTC. Either way, it seems like those are, I guess, more inflated figures, and so hopefully you'd be able to get at least 400 odd kilometers out of it. So guys, if you are familiar with MIDC, I didn't have time to read into it in much more detail. Let us know what the range is supposed to look like, but in my view, if I had to apply some of the other metrics that are available, we're definitely going to be seeing less than 542, less than 535 kilometers for sure. The good side of things so far is they've said that these cars can be charged up to 11 kilowatts using AC power and up to 175 kilowatts using DC fast chargers. And then in terms of dollar conversion, so the BE6E, which is this bottom one at the moment, is priced from 1.89 million rupees in India, which works out to be roughly, I think, about $35,000. And then the XEV 9E starts at 2.19 million rupees, which is roughly $40,000. So yeah, targeting obviously the lower end of the market, and yeah, they're essentially coming out with their new electric series. So potentially we will see that, since they're going in as right-hand drive. So watch your space, I'll keep you guys posted, and let's keep moving on. So let's talk Denza. So Denza N9, this slide I have shown you guys before. It is triple motor, crazy big car. Look at the curb weight, over 3 tons. Yes, it's also available as a plug-in hybrid, but let's just talk about the electric and how luxurious this thing looks, right? So there was actually always just pictures of the exterior, as I've shown you guys. We've now got interior photos. Now, just remember, Denza is posed to be a luxury brand. So this was the one where BYD and Mercedes had a joint partnership. BYD bought out most of them, and then they recently bought out all of them. So now it is actually just the BYD brand. So anyways, next 2 slides, I'm going to show you guys the interior photos. So let's go on to the first one. So have a look at all of that, and I'm going to read some information through to you guys. So 3 rows of seats, a 50-inch heads-up display, 17.1-inch on the ceiling, and a fridge with 11.5 litre capacity. They're saying that the center console at the N9 adopts a 3-monitor layout with a large 17.3-inch touchscreen. The 13.2-inch LCD instrument cluster sits behind the D-shaped steering wheel, and another 13.2-inch is located on the front passenger side. And then with regards to the fridge, so the storage box, 11.5 litres, as I said, heating and cooling, and it can go from -6 degrees to plus 50 degrees Celsius. 50 degrees, imagine that. You could literally buy takeaway, go home, and it will still be smoking hot. Absolutely fantastic. Can't wait to be able to use something like that. Buying takeaway, don't even get me started. And then how about during summer? You could put drinks in there, stay ice cold. Absolutely fantastic. Anyway, let's move on. I've got more photos for you guys. So here, second row of the Denza N9 has 2 independent captain chairs that can fold flat to form a bed. And then over here on the bottom left, I'm also showing you guys that's a 17.1-inch ceiling mounted screens. And yeah, there's also apparently 2 folding tables that can hold up to 10 kilograms of weight. And that's the ones up here on the top left. And with regards to 3 rows up, that's pretty much what the boot size looks like. I think it's quite typical. You're not going to expect to have a massive boot with 7 seats up. But nonetheless, you do have the ability to fold them down. And you also do have the flexibility of having 3 rows. So yeah, no more information in terms of pricing or anything or any signs of this coming to Australia. But as always, if I hear more, I'll let you guys know. So let's now talk about BYD actually. So BYD Sealion 7. So they've actually just announced the new one. And this SUV has now entered the Norwegian market with first deliveries planned next year. And so this originally debuted at the Paris Autoshow in Europe in October, and now they're entering Norway, which is basically a leader in the EV adoption space. They've got a crazy amount of EVs there. Majority of their cars on the roads are actually EVs. And so when the BYD Sealion 07 was originally launched in China April this year, it was the first model which was going to be the Platform 3.0 Evo, which is a significant upgrade from the previous E-Platform 3.0. They've got new technology called cell-to-body C2B integration, which apparently improves frontal collision and passenger cabin safety by 60% and 50% respectively. There's two variants in the two-wheel drive models, which means there's a 230 kilowatt variant or a 170 kilowatt variant. You've then also got a all-wheel drive or a four-wheel drive model, which has 160 kilowatt, I presume, at the front and 230 at the rear. And some of the dimensions there, basically it means in terms of physical size, it's slightly longer than a Tesla Model Y. And then on the inside, you know, the seats remind me of the typical BYD styling. And in the rear, for me personally, I feel like it reminds me of the Mercedes. And in the front, of course, that it seems like BYD's signature style. So yeah, are you guys waiting for this car? Because I have seen that a lot of people have said they're not buying the Sealion 6 obviously because it's hybrid, but they can't wait to get the Sealion 7 if and when it comes to Australia. And that's it for BYD. So let's see what's next. Another BYD. Next gen blade battery. So pause the screen there if you guys want to read this in a bit more detail, but the long story short is BYD have basically said in 2025 they're going to release their new version of the blade battery, and they're going to push it into one of their luxury brands, which is Yangwang, the U7. So the only bit that I want you guys to read, which is pretty amazing, is where is the section? Down the bottom over here. Yangwang said that on January 10th this year, the brand's first sedan, named the U7, which is the one we've got in the photos here, would have more than 1,000 horsepower and would be priced in the 1 million yuan range. Now, I don't know what the conversion is specifically there. I feel like it's roughly a couple of $100,000, maybe about $200,000. Feel free to correct me, I've got that totally wrong. But 1,000 horsepower. That's going to be a very quick car. doesn't matter how heavy it's going to be, 1000 is going to get that thing moving, especially being an EV. And yeah, so that is all things BYD and BYD Blade battery. Let's move on to something else that is also very exciting. The ZEEKR Mix. So, full credit to Enzo Kwok. So I saw Enzo, I forgot which whereabouts on Facebook I saw this, but I did see some pictures that Enzo had put up of the ZEEKR Mix. So this was at the Guanzhou Autoshow. And so I asked if I could put these pictures up to share it with you guys and put the credit to Enzo. So credit to Enzo. Thank you very much for sending through these pictures. And I actually do have some video content of the doors in a moment. But first things first, here is the car itself. This was just a car I found on Google. Then you've got some pictures of the front door and how that looks like. Now the only thing that I guess calls out somewhat concerning from what I can see is how far out these doors swing. So I don't know how wide the car is off the top of my head, and didn't get a chance to look at the specs, but it does seem like the doors do swing out fairly wide. Having said that, look at the amount of space when it opens up. That bit is the amazing bit. And it's only when it comes to tight parking spaces that you may need to think twice about how you park or which side you enter and whatnot. But yeah, let's jump onto the next slide, and I'm going to show you guys some of the video content with regards to how the car works. So let's start with this one over here. Alright, that covers the first one. Let's move on to this second one over here. So it looks like we're going to open this door. For some reason I thought it was sliding doors, so it's clearly not sliding doors, it totally just comes out. And yeah, let's have a look at this third one over here. And there it is, rotating around. Alright, what do you guys think? Very funky design, very funky. I've only got one question that I still wonder about this car, and that is, if you had the front doors closed, so you assume you're in a tight parking spot, can you still get out without opening the front doors, because this car can technically rotate around? My initial thoughts is no, because if you jump back to this video here, this bit here, if you look on the right, your legs sitting in front looks like it may potentially hit the door. So if the door's not open, you may not get around. So it might be that you need to, you know, sort of do like a stomach crunch. Don't expect me to do it in front of you guys now, but sort of do like a stomach crunch and then push rotate to get yourself out of this tight spot potentially. But yeah, that's the ZEEKR mix. Thank you very much, Enzo, for sending through the videos and the photos. Totally appreciate it. And guys, hope you enjoyed that, because that's the first time I've seen it in action. Alright, let's get moving on. Let's talk Tesla. Multiple news updates for Tesla. So let's start with the most exciting one on the top right. So there was a post that was mentioned that Shanghai factory is sharing production lines between the old Model Y and the new Model Y, and the proportion of the new Model Y is lower, which basically confirms that new Model Y will probably go on sale in January. So, don't know how true this is. However, with all the speculation and leaks of the photos and everything, I would dare say it's going to be a pretty true rumor, or pretty true fact, that the car will come in 2025. It's totally overdue. The question is, would you buy the new one? For the ones that currently own a Model Y, would you sell up? Depreciation's obviously given you a big hit, so that's also something to consider. Either way, let's jump through the rest of the news. Let's rotate around. So the next one here is Tesla's currently increased or doubled up their credits. So now you can earn $700 instead of $350 in Tesla credits by giving anyone $1,400 off a new Tesla. So that's fantastic. They've also now got $3,000 novated lease incentive. Now, I don't understand leasing too much myself, so if you guys want to read more into it, hit pause, have a read through it, do your own research, do your own financial research and all of that. Disclaimer, I'm not a financial advisor, so I'm only putting it here as facts. I've literally taken the screenshot for you guys to see. The other two news is all around autopilot and summoning. So actual smart summon is now being rolled out in Europe and Middle East. Please give it to us in Australia. We're waiting. We seem to get everything last. And then apparently V13 is potentially looking like it may be coming out this week, if not very, very soon. Meanwhile, we're still waiting for, the previous one here in Australia. So show us some love, Tesla. But that wraps up all of the Tesla news. So let's keep moving on. We're now towards the end for some additional social media updates. So let's talk about the first one on the left. So this was set up in the UK. What do you guys think of this? There's lots of obviously charging stations that are external, some are also internal, and by external I mean just outside, internal I mean like in shopping centres and whatnot. For the ones that are outside, think of your traditional petrol station billboards. Is it of use, or do you think it's cool to have something like that for charging? I think it's actually pretty good, because when you are navigating in your car, it may not necessarily show you what the prices are going to be. So I think it's actually quite handy. And at some point in time in the future, there will be a station to your left as you're driving. There will also be one to your right. And I think this is going to be a perfect scenario where, as you're just driving, you can actually just make a quick decision, similar to how you guys do it today. A lot of people are still doing it with petrol. So yeah, what do you guys think? The middle one, not necessarily EV specific news. However, EVs have definitely had an impact to this. So apparently 2 unnamed Nissan execs have said the company pretty much has 12 to 14 months to survive. So they've cut more than 9,000 jobs this month. They've slashed production. Nissan's operating profit dropped by 85% in Q3. Massive numbers. So either way, we're recording this in November 2024. Let's try to remember this, and let's see what happens in 2025. And the last one over here, Jason from Tech AU, big thank you to you for sharing this. Also, thank you, credits to Francisco Reza. Hyundai Ioniq 9. We've only given news updates for this one over the past 2 weeks. And look at that. It's like in that jade green type colour, spotted in Australia. Right-hand drive. So we should be seeing it very, very soon. And again, if you guys forgot or you haven't watched the previous episodes, jump over to that if you guys want to have a look. But long story short is, it is a 3-row SUV coming from Hyundai. It's slightly bigger than the EV9 from Kia. And we're expecting it to be obviously the most expensive car in the lineup. And that takes us to the end of the wrap. As always, if you guys have watched all of it, thank you so much for your support. Hope you guys have a good weekend, and we'll see you soon for more content. Take care.